Well, what's up again there, viewers? Brian here to 3 Topics Gamer, and I'm here to share with you one of my top 5 list videos to share with you guys today. Now, 2021 was actually a pretty great year for the first main year for the current gen systems. A lot of really amazing games came out, and although I didn't end up playing as many games as I would have hoped, that didn't really stop me from having a number of really great experiences. And with the Video Game Awards on the horizon coming out on December 9th, I just figured it would be a great time for me to go over what I thought were the top 5 best games that I played this year. Now, if you happen to enjoy this video by the end, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to keep track of me and all my future videos for the rest of December going into next year. And remember, if there's any game that you happen to enjoy that isn't on my personal list, please do not feel too bad. Everyone has different experiences. So, starting off with number 5, I would have to go with Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. Now, the reason I put this number 5 low on my list is simply the fact that I did not play this in its entirety. And this is kind of a carryover from a game that came out last year, which without question, I would have considered this to be my game of the year for last year. So the fact that I just focused on the DLC content has to put it a little bit lower. Now, I really appreciate the improvements that they added to Ghost of Tsushima, so I certainly did prefer playing this on PlayStation 5 than I did PlayStation 4. But the DLC content did manage to carry over a number of problems that I did have with the main game. And therefore, I do hope that when the sequel does eventually come out, hopefully in the next 2 or 3 years, they fix those issues. But on its own, just focusing on the DLC, it was a great experience. But the fact that most of it was just carried over from last year is the primary reason that overall I would have to put it as number 5 on my list of games that I played this year. Going into number 4 on my list is not only just one game, but 2 games that are more or less the same, and that is the pair of Pokemon's Brilliant Diamond and Pokemon's Shining Silver. Now, I'm not sure if you guys would like me to do a review for these 2 games. If you'd like me to, just let me know in the comments down below. But this is actually the first set of Pokemon games I've actually managed to play at release in a number of years. And I can happily say that without question, these games absolutely lived up to the hype. I had a blast playing these 2 games, building 2 different teams and catching different sets of Pokemon. It led to a number of different experiences I wasn't expecting. The number of additions that they added with the share experience which allows your team to level up relatively quickly, the underground, the beauty contest. There's just a number of improvements and additions in overall gameplay mechanics that I thought really helped make Pokemon's Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl probably one of the better games of Pokemon that I've played in quite some time. It's not my overall favorite Pokemon in terms of regions, but I think that in terms of experiences, and I still have a lot of more things to do in these games, even I think I put like 34 hours in this game and like 27 hours in this game, and I'm still playing these, and I'll probably still be playing these well into next year. So the fact that this was very much an updated traditional style of Pokemon game that had a lot of improvements and a lot of updates and just was an overall fun game to play is enough for me to give it the number 4 spot on my list of best games that I played in 2021. Going into number 3 on my list is a game that was probably one of the earliest games that I played this year, and that has to go to Returnal. Now, I really thought that Returnal was going to be probably the first best example of me getting a PlayStation 5, and I did, because this wasn't the main game that I got a PlayStation 5 for, but I do think that this was a good test drive game to kind of give me an idea of what type of quality games I could expect from PlayStation exclusive games moving forward. And I think that the concept of Returnal was very, very unique in terms of playing as a character, and every time you die, you pretty much reset the cycle, and every time you continue to play a new cycle is a completely new map with new enemies, new weapons. Therefore, it always made sure that your gameplay experience was relatively fresh, and you always had to constantly stay on your toes. I think the sound design, the visuals, the story was a little bit hard to understand, but I had to do a little bit of research in order to understand the full playthrough of exactly what was going on in this game. And honestly, I think that if the developers actually wanted to do a follow-up for Returnal, I certainly could see myself playing a follow-up. I think there's certainly enough potential for this to be a long-standing franchise for the PlayStation exclusive family. And I definitely had a blast playing this game, despite it not being the best game that I played this year. But I would happily place it as number 3 on my set of games that I played in 2021. Going into number 2 on my list is a game that I had been wanting to play for about a decade. Now, this originally was mainly exclusive on Xbox, so when it was announced it was finally coming to PlayStation, it was an automatic day one buy, and that has to go to Alan Wake. Now, Alan Wake comes from the same studio that gave us Max Payne and, of course, Control, which Control by itself was a fantastic game. So the fact that I was finally able to get my hands on a copy of Alan Wake and play it for my personal experience was a fantastic experience. I actually did end up streaming this on Twitch. I had a great time streaming it. I had a great time playing it. It had a fantastic story, great aesthetics, great gameplay mechanics, a fantastic cast of characters that was in. Surprisingly, the fact that it was a somewhat mystery horror game gives it even more points on my level, because I'm someone who really isn't a big horror fan. So when you're able to make a game that's kind of in a genre and still make it entertaining and fun to play, gives it extra kudos in my book, which is why, without question, this is certainly the second best game that I played in 2021. But there's only one game that can take the number one spot, and that has to go to Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. This is my game of the year. The second that I saw this, for the PlayStation 5 announcement about over a year ago, I knew that the day this game came out, I had to have a PlayStation 5. This is the very game that I even got a PlayStation 5 for, and I can happily say that it was absolutely well worth it. This is, without question, one of the best Ratchet and Clank games that I've played to date. With the inclusion of Rivet, that could easily turn into its own separate set of games, and I would be totally happy for that. And this is the game that I will be absolutely rooting for to get Game of the Year. This is, without question, my Game of the Year. This was a fantastic addition to the PlayStation 5 set of exclusive franchises, which is definitely going to continue, because heck, there's going to be a lot of amazing games coming out for the PlayStation 5 for 2022. And I just have really almost no real complaints. I mean, the only complaint that I had with it was the fact that Rivet and Ratchet played practically identical, and I think it would have made the game a little bit better if they played a little bit more different. But that doesn't stop Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart from being, without question, the best PlayStation 5 exclusive game that came out this year, and the best game that I played in 2021, which is why, without question, this game takes the number one spot on my list. So now that you guys know my top 5 favorite games that I played this year, I would love to know, what were the top 5 best games that you played this year? Share your list with me and everyone's in the comments down below. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you all next time.